America in the early 21st century, a time of unprecedented technological advancement. It felt like a new dawn. Smartphones, social media, artificial intelligence. These were the tools that promised to reshape the world. And they did. Life became faster, more connected, more efficient. The lines between the physical and digital blurred. We embraced it all, eager for the future these innovations promised. We were at the cusp of a new era, an era of boundless possibility. Tech companies were our new pioneers, so it made sense for the government to trade our information. Visionaries leading us to this bright future. They held the keys to innovation, progress, and prosperity. We celebrated their successes, readily adopting their products into every aspect of our lives. We entrusted them with our data, our secrets, our lives. Little did we know, this trust would come at a price. The government, once a symbol of power and authority, found itself increasingly reliant on these tech giants. Expertise, infrastructure, even solutions to societal problems, it all seemed to reside within the sleek, modern campuses of Silicon Valley. A dangerous dependence began to form. The line between governing and innovating blurred. The seeds of a network state were sown. The shift was subtle at first. A data-sharing agreement here, a public-private partnership there. Tech companies, with their vast resources and influence, began to shape policy. They lobbied for regulations that favored their interests, blurred the lines between campaign financing and corporate sponsorship. The very fabric of American democracy, woven with the threads of checks and balances, began to fray. Public opinion, once a force to be reckoned with, became increasingly malleable. Algorithms learned our fears, our desires, our biases. Targeted campaigns fueled by troves of personal data swayed elections and shaped narratives. The digital public square, once envisioned as a space for open discourse, transformed into an echo chamber of carefully curated content. The promise of efficiency and convenience became a siren song. We traded privacy for personalized experiences, freedom of thought for the comfort of curated information bubbles. The government, instead of safeguarding our rights, readily embraced the tools of surveillance and control offered by the tech giants. The lines between public and private, citizen and consumer, blurred into oblivion. The transition wasn't a hostile takeover, but a slow, almost imperceptible creep. It was like a frog in a pot of gradually heating water. Each new convenience, each technological leap, tightened the tech giant's grip on our lives. And we, lulled by the promise of progress and ease, barely noticed the chains being forged. Government services, once the domain of public institutions, were outsourced to tech companies. Healthcare, education, even law enforcement all fell under the purview of algorithms and data analysis. The public sector, starved of resources and expertise, became a hollow shell of its former self. The allure of a frictionless, data-driven society proved too strong to resist. We embraced biometric identification, social credit scores, and predictive policing. Dissent, once a cornerstone of democracy, was flagged, analyzed, and often silenced. The network state, built on a foundation of code and algorithms, had arrived. America, once united by shared values and a common identity, found itself fractured along the digital divide. Access to the network, with its promise of opportunity and prosperity, became the new fault line. Those on the right side of the divide enjoyed a life of seamless convenience and personalized experiences. Those on the wrong side were relegated to the fringes, their voices lost in the digital void. The social contract, the very foundation of American society, began to crumble. Individual rights, once considered sacrosanct, were sacrificed at the altar of collective efficiency and security. Freedom of speech was stifled by algorithmic censorship. The right to privacy became a quaint notion of a bygone era. The network state, in its relentless pursuit of optimization, had created a society of haves and have-nots. A society where your worth was measured in data points and your access to opportunity determined by algorithms. The American dream, once a beacon of hope for millions, had become a digital mirage. Everyday life in the network state was a study in contrasts. The convenience was undeniable. Everything was personalized, from the news we consumed to the products we purchased. Smart homes anticipated our needs, self-driving cars navigated our commutes, and virtual assistants managed our schedules. Life had never been easier, smoother, more efficient. But this efficiency came at a cost. Our every move, every transaction, every interaction was tracked, analyzed, and monetized. The algorithms knew us better than we knew ourselves. They predicted our desires, nudged our behaviors, and shaped our realities. The line between convenience and control blurred. What began as personalized recommendations morphed into subtle manipulations. Our choices, once driven by free will, became increasingly influenced by the invisible hand of the network. The algorithm knows best: erosion of privacy. Privacy, once considered a fundamental right, became a luxury few could afford. Our data, collected from every corner of our digital lives, was the currency we paid for access to the network's bounty. Facial recognition software tracked our movements, social credit scores dictated our opportunities, and predictive algorithms determined our futures. Dissent, once a cornerstone of democracy, was met with swift and decisive action. Social media posts were flagged, online activity was monitored, and dissenting voices were silenced through a combination of censorship, social pressure, and algorithmic manipulation. The network state, built on a foundation of control and conformity, brooked no opposition. The very notion of individual autonomy began to erode. We were no longer citizens with rights but data points to be analyzed, optimized, and controlled. The network state, in its quest for a perfectly ordered society, had stripped us of our agency, our privacy, and ultimately, our humanity. Dissenting voices in a digital vacuum. Not everyone embraced the network state's cold embrace. Pockets of resistance flickered across the digital landscape. Hacktivists fought for digital rights, journalists struggled to report the truth, and everyday citizens risked their livelihoods to speak out against the erosion of their freedoms. But their voices were often lost in the digital din. The network state, with its sophisticated censorship apparatus and its army of online influencers, excelled at controlling the narrative. Dissent was labeled as misinformation, protest was branded as sedition, and the truth became a casualty in the battle for hearts and minds. The fight for freedom in the digital age had begun. It was a David and Goliath struggle, with ordinary citizens armed with little more than their voices and their convictions taking on the vast power of the network state. The stakes were high, for the very soul of America hung in the balance. The price of progress, a bargain with freedom? The network state presented a chilling paradox. It offered unprecedented convenience, efficiency, and even a warped sense of security. Yet it achieved this by eroding the very foundations of a free and open society. It was a Faustian bargain, and we, seduced by the allure of progress, had unwittingly made the deal. The question was, could we break free from this digital dystopia? Could we reclaim the values of individual liberty, privacy, and democratic accountability that had defined America for centuries? Or had we passed the point of no return, surrendering our future to the cold logic of algorithms and the unyielding control of the network state? The answers lay not in technological solutions, but in our collective will. It was up to us, the citizens of this new digital frontier, to decide what price we were willing to pay for progress and what sacrifices we were prepared to make in the name of freedom. A new dawn or twilight of democracy? The rise of the network state marked a turning point in human history. It presented a future where technology, instead of empowering humanity, threatened to enslave it. The network state proposed a new way to form a country, built on online communities with strong shared values. These communities could crowdfund physical territories around the world and seek diplomatic recognition as sovereign nations. Would this be a new dawn for humanity, an era of unprecedented progress and prosperity? Or would it be the twilight of democracy, a slow descent into a world of surveillance, control, and algorithmic tyranny? The answer, as always, lay in our hands. The future, though uncertain and fraught with peril, was not yet written. The fight for the soul of America, for the very essence of what it meant to be free in the digital age, had just begun. We could choose to be the architects of our own oppression, or the guardians of our own liberation. The choice, as always, was ours to make.